Hey y'all, it's Thursday, and as you can tell, it's the most wonderful time of the year. You know, we want to bling it out, make it a little festive for you.
These ears are fly. These reindeer ears, I kind of like them. Is it a little crooked?
Just on my. But anyway, hello, welcome. So listen, it's been quite the week. Okay, we started this week on a Monday. For those of us who were tapped in, we were on verdict watch, and we did not get a full acquittal. If you don't know what we're talking about, you've been clearly living under a rock. But we were referring to the Jonathan Majors trial. So he was found guilty on 2 counts. The lesser counts, might I add, well, we'll get into it later. And so it's sort of been, I mean, if you was on Team Grace Jabari, I don't know. Shout out. I don't know. I don't even know what to say, but whatever. But for some of us, it's been a little bit of a Rubik's Cube of a week trying to process that. And some of us feel that it is a grave miscarriage of justice. And then we've also had Taraji P. Henson, God bless her.
She's going through something in life.
She's going through something in life. The entire Color Purple press tour, she seemed a little exhausted, but now she is speaking out against what she feels are injustices in Hollywood about Black women and pay inequity. So it's just a lot of things. And then, of course, you know, the regular injustices. There was just another shooting today. I know these are not very festive things to talk about. And, you know, Israel, Palestine, there's probably tons of things happening in Africa that is getting no coverage. Russia, Ukraine, still a thing. Anyway, this is not really holiday cheer festive things, which is why we also wore these things to light the mood. But listen, okay, it's a lot going on here. Okay, injustices impact us all in various ways. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. So whether you have those things that you feel are injustices, personal injustices, the holidays can bring out a lot of things, okay? You might want to stick around for just a little bit, okay? Because this episode is for sure for you.
Hi, I'm Pam Williams, a mother.
And I'm Jessica E. Williams, a daughter. And this is a mother and a daughter truthful chat, where we discuss our 35-year multi-layered relationship.
We've been through so many ups and downs. Not only are we family, but we're business partners in the high-stress world of event planning and production for short films.
We've also shared the same therapist for over 10 years. What some people call codependence, we call collaboration.
So join us as we share stories from our lives,
have candid conversations with other mother-daughter duos,
and shed light on the roller coaster ride of being a woman while raising a woman.
All right, so we're sorry if we bummed you out at the top, but we had to be real. Anyway, let's get back to some celebrations. Surprise!
These are our favorite things.
Hold on.
Bing.
Okay, well, mine just is demonic today. Hello. All right, mine's supposed to be doing the same thing, but I don't know, girl. Turn this on. Anyway, if you're new here,
your battery might be dead.
It ain't dead. It was barely on.
This is from
the other day when you had it on?
It's from last year.
Well, why don't you give me that?
I'm blinging.
Anyway,
for the both of us.
I had another one I could have grabbed. I just didn't. So anyway, blinging activities. Cups up.
I'll bling for the both of us. We're drinking hot chocolate today because it's almost Christmas.
It is almost Christmas. Welcome to Truthful Chats. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here all year, okay? All year. We are one episode away from a full year of episodes. And I couldn't be more proud of us. There should have been some liquor in this.
That'll be next week.
Okay. Anyway, Truthful Chats is where we come together on a weekly basis to get to the ongoing practice of creating
It's been too many things. You were talking about J-Lo a few minutes ago. That's probably what.
Because Jennifer almost came out my mouth and I was very confused. Anyway, I'm sorry. To practice.
She's talking about PTSD too.
From Ben Affleck though, but whatever.
We'll get into
that. Doesn't have anything to do with it. We were scrolling. Things came up. Anyway, if you're new here, we are all about the ongoing practice of creating generational wellness. I went to theater school, so I know how to project and enunciate. Okay. And so Truthful Chats. Oh, so anyway, at Create Generational Wellness, every single month we have a theme of the month. And then the theme, we unpack it here on the channel on a weekly basis. It is December or December, as my Spanish speaking brothers and sisters say. I think that's right. I think it is. I think that's right. Feliz Navidad. Bop, bop, bop. Happy Hanukkah. Most importantly, happy Kwanzaa. You know what it is. Or whatever it is that you be celebrating around this time. Some of y'all just believe in Saint Nick and homies. And that's cool too. anyway, it's December. Our topic is better. And if you clicked on this video, you should already know. Today's episode, make sure there's no spillage, is better justice for our mental health. So we trying to have a Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. But per usual,
it's always something.
It's always something. White supremacy going white supremacy. People's just
the balancing scales of lady justice is going to be lopsided.
People just doing what they feel like they got to do to survive right now. It's robbing season. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things going on. So we don't want to like put a damper on the holidays, but it could be a beautiful time, but it can also be a dark time. Okay. It's a both and situation. Okay. And today we just got to talk about a few things. All right. So if we're going to just focus on the Jonathan Majors situation. Okay.
Let's start there.
This is
in our opinion,
because let me be TI clear. We already know there are people who are dear friends and family of ours that are like, that man is an abuser. People knew him from New York. This ain't nothing new, blah, 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 blah. I've heard all the things, okay? That being said, as I think it was Corey Holcomb, we were watching his podcast today because people was talking about it. The reality of the situation is the media is giving you a particular spin on this situation. I think we all know the most heinous and egregious part of this is he was sleeping with a white woman. We all live in America. We know what it is. That's the elephant in the room, okay? It's not a good look. He knew it wasn't a good look. I would say that this relationship was unhealthy on both sides. I'm gonna reserve the abusive. I'm not putting an abusive jacket on anyone. I'm gonna say it was an unhealthy relationship from my vantage point on both sides. Anyway, and then, the reality situation is Grace Jabari was actually arrested. That was not allowed to be a part of the deliberations.
Or the testimony or the evidence.
The officer that arrested her was not allowed to testify. There are pictures floating around the internet of Jonathan Majors' injuries from that evening. So it's just a lot of things. The DA is we don't really know what's going on there.
Suspect.
The police seem to have sworn that they, took great and adequate notes of the night, and that proved to be untrue. So it's just, if you're a Black person in America, there's a lot of red flags going on. Yeah. Okay. Not to say, clearly there's no innocent party here. Okay. I think even on the charges that he was guilty of, it was like, well, we saw this girl chasing you, so we don't necessarily believe that, she was under so much duress that she could never just
she was so afraid
defend herself. She was so afraid
that she wanted to get away from
she wanted to get away from you, okay?
No, she jumped out of the car and chased him through the New York City streets in high heels.
Whatever harassment,
Riley told you what that means.
Whatever harassment and assault has happened as a direct result of this particular situation that we're talking about, she was trying to get out the car. Okay, she was coming at him. Said things would not have happened.
And she didn't have to.
She was not coming at him
because
just go back to the house.
If you just go back to the house, abused and somebody is beating you up, why would you get out of the car to chase after the person that's beating you up? It doesn't make sense. If they got out of the car and you were really afraid, you would tell the driver, speed away, get away, let's go.
And the driver said you was a psycho girl. He was trying to get rid of her.
So many things.
So many things. Anyway, I hope they appeal. I hope that um, a lawsuit is coming her way because I don't think we're going to get the other side. Like it's the prosecutor's trial. Okay, they did what they needed to do, but I feel like the defense they need to maybe bring some charges of their own so we can get that full scope of the situation. And this is what I'm going to say. Okay, last thing, racially, I cannot think of any. Don't sexes. We can reverse the roles. That would be its own thing. If a man was chasing a woman down the street like that, we would definitely put the abuse label
the
on
aggressor
it.
on
The aggressor label
on the chaser, not the chasee.
For sure. And then we would also say, if it was a black person, man or woman, chasing somebody white like that, they would be automatic. I cannot think of any scenario that they would not be automatically labeled the aggressor. Okay. Trayvon Martin was running away from George Zimmerman and then finally had to get at him because he kept following him. And he was labeled the aggressor in what was clearly a self-defense situation. But anyway, just saying all that to say, the media is going to give you a particular spin, but for those of us who were like really locked in, there was a lot of things that were not adding up, as it were.
So to say. So, how do we feel about all this? Because this happens to us
in the judicial system
all the time. It happens to us all the time and has been happening for years. So it got me to thinking. First of all, I was thinking about Jonathan personally, and
so much work wasted.
And Megan and her face said it all. But I was thinking about like, how do you feel about such a
got you, bruh.
A weird sense of judgment, just a weird judgment. It just, if you look at it, doesn't make sense. And some people say, well, maybe Priya should have driven this home harder, whatever. But I assume that she thought
the people had
common sense like the rest of us.
I'm not mad at her for thinking that because we all said
he's being chased. So I would assume that would close the case. When I saw that the first day, I said, "Oh, this is wrap. This is over."
And they waited till the last minute. She had already sent that thing to TMZ. You know what I mean?
I thought about it, and I said, he's got to be feeling so frustrated, so helpless. He did all the right things, run away from the woman.
In terms of de-escalating
that situation,
de-escalating that particular. I don't even know. Can we call it domestic violence?
Situation.
That situation.
Just a situation.
That argument.
He ran. He got away. He tried to put her in the car. He did what you tell
all the men to
keep her safe from getting running, because clearly she was probably intoxicated at that point. All the things you would tell your son.
This is how you get out of that kind of situation.
This is what you do to get out of that situation, and none of it worked. So I was listening to a lot of men and podcasts and things. And just Black men in general talking about what am I supposed to do? What do I do? What if this happens to me? And that's scary. That's a scary place to be, and it impacts your mental health, and it gives you a feeling of despair. And whatever I do, it's not going to work, and I'm frustrated. I feel helpless. I feel powerless. And research has shown that repeated exposure to this kind of injustice, to this kind of what happened
as a
here?
Collective. That's what I said. We're not necessarily talking about Jonathan Major specifically, though I'm sure it's a little devastating. But we're talking about to
us as a people collectively to keep watching injustice after injustice after injustice. It grates on your mental health. It grates on your well-being. It grates on your emotional health. You can't help but feel this sense of make me want to throw up my hands. What am I supposed to do? So the constant feeling of being treated unfairly or witnessing people being treated unfairly and these systemic inequities, it just erodes your sense of self-worth and contributes to a negative self-image if you don't do something to combat against it.
So can we put a pin in Jonathan Majors? So can we talk about this from the Taraji perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just concerned for Taraji a little bit in general about her mental health, period. I felt like that for some time. She should be happy. This is The Color Purple. It's a remake that everyone is celebrating. you are under the Oprah banner. So she is the avenger of
Black women.
Black women. Really, it's like I know sometimes you don't always, sometimes her loyalty to the culture be a little like, but you know what I mean. Ain't nobody messing with her. Okay, she do what she want. So it seems like Taraji should be happier, more excited, but being that she is the veteran actress of this particular project, she has expressed and said some things about her experience in Hollywood, being a Black woman, being a Black actress, about the competition involved, trying to maintain sisterhood in spite of competition. Culturally, our story is not always being told or represented in a way that reflects us accurately, that people feel like won't affect their bottom line. I think I said that
which
pretty
she
PC.
perceives as injustice.
As an injustice.
And they are.
And pay inequity. Okay. We've all heard, this is no disrespect, many a white actress cry about the pay inequity. But I've also seen Black actresses at them same roundtable conversations going, girl, what is you talking about? Because you getting paid more than me for the same work. And it's hard work. We talked about this on the last episode, but they're supposed to be 12-hour days. They're really more like 14, 16, sometimes 20-hour days. Okay. You're in a trailer, which is a glorified camper. Some are more tricked out than others, but you are literally like spending days away from your family, friends.
In a box.
On set, off set, really just focus on telling their story. So, and then, depending on the story that you're telling, especially like Color Purple, it's a great emotional toll. And so,
the subject matter of the movie takes a toll on you.
We always tell people, please take care of yourselves when working on set projects. But I think all of that compounding, now that she's on this platform, is giving her an opportunity to talk about some things that are injustices and
repeated injustices. Like I was saying, if these things keep happening and repeated and again and again, and you think it's going to get better. I was telling Jess the other day, I said, I feel like Taraji thought when she did Benjamin Button.
And Think Like a Man, actually, because that was Wakanda before Wakanda, low-key, for romantic comedies.
Yep. She crossed over. Benjamin Button was amazing. Think Like a Man. I think she thought, this is it. My funnel is open. The trajectory is open and I'm on my way. And who knows what happened in the meantime. But it didn't happen that way, right? So that's an injustice to her and inequity and something that she's having to process through. And a lot of people, not just to talk about celebrities processing through, but all of us are processing through
America, teachers,
these inequities as we watch them, like we said, in our own lives and in the lives of other people.
And especially because everybody's striking. I think there's a general consensus now that coming out of a pandemic, going back to work, inflation being what it is, that like everything's getting more expensive, but people's wages are not increasing no matter what it is that
commensurately.
You do. Right. No matter what it is that you do. And in an industry like that is so glitz and glam and glamorized and everything is meant to look so perfect, things are not always what they seem. And they're making it look like people got a bag, but sometimes that's not the case. Like she said, I have to pay my team. Like I'm responsible for other people.
Yeah.
It's not just me, but you still got a house note, car note.
It takes a heavy weight and it requires a lot of physical, emotional, psychological energy to keep going in the face of all this. We just saw Darius McCray from
Family Matters not being arrested for not being able to pay his child support for the second time, which is crazy.
Family Matters
on every streaming platform right now.
Somewhere. So,
and I guarantee that Black man is probably paying whatever the minimum is, and he cannot pay that. That means
inequity.
That's a systemic inequity.
I bet you your little boy from Boy Meets World. And you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Ben Savage. I mean,
it's just, it is what it is.
Now I could say something about Disney, but I won't. And let me just go ahead and say this, okay? I know everyone back unpinning Jonathan Majors. Immediately after that, Disney did release a statement that they were releasing him from his contract, aka firing him. He was supposed to play Kang the Conqueror, was playing Kang the Conqueror, but they were going to give him his own film in 2026. I don't know if they're not going to come back around to that later, because everybody was like, oh my God, it happened so fast. And I was like, it's publicity. I'm like, they probably had a statement if the court went one way, and they probably had a statement if the court went the other way. It's not like they was like, well, we about to write up this draft, this fire notice right now. Like they probably just had two statements ready, and then they did what they had to do. Just for the optics of it, I think it really depends on what's happening. But I know some of the Marvel stands are like really just kind of freaked out about this, but let's focus on this man's actual life, not just we ain't gonna get no more Marvel movies. What's going on? Like, I know y'all are sad. I want to see Magazine Dreams. We'll see what happens. So, I'm like, we always, because we are of this world, we have a lot of compassion for actors because it's how the system works. It's a very different system than most jobs, and it is glamorized, but is very hard.
Not
and for
glamorous.
you to get, I mean, it's glamorized, it's not glamorous, but for you to get to the level that Jonathan Majors was at, number one, and the trajectory and the path that he was on, it's really
a lot
devastating.
Because put in a lot of work.
There's a lot of work.
To have it gone. Like Avengers Endgame.
Infinity Wars is Endgame. They disappearing. Disappearing, honey. So, we looking at it from a schooling perspective, a debt perspective. It's just so many things. So anyway, saying all that to say, there's a lot. It's traumatic. Let me go ahead and say that. Whether you feel like it's an injustice or not is, your prerogative. But I think in both cases, these are things that are traumatic for said people that we're talking about. And, we're going to keep them lifted in our prayers. So yeah, like Pam was saying, social injustice weigh really heavy on your physical, your emotional, your psychological energy. And we're kind of just expected to just like endure it. Like, it's happening, so what? Like, you know what I mean? Keep going. Mm-hmm. That's usually the thing, without really taking inventory of like how it's affecting us. Mm-hmm. Especially I think in a Jonathan Majors situation, since so much has been exposed about, again, his mental health state having been really, really low at some points. Hopefully he has a team, around him that can help. But like, this is a blow. It's a blow. Okay. 25 mil was the bag for Kang. So it's not all about that. I'm just saying. And then, the court of public opinion. So, and then these constant like exposures to these kind of traumatic things, right? They can really suck the lifeblood from a person, suck the lifeblood from a family. You know what I mean? We're not talking about
that doesn't just affect him.
I'm like, is he helping? Did he buy his mama a house? Is he helping? You know what I mean? What is Taraji doing? Like, people tend to care about, especially in our community, their families as well. So, not that everybody has to take on financial burden, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so, all of this has an effect on the bag, of course, but your self-worth, your sense of agency, like where are you going to be able to work now? How are people going to perceive you as their workplaces? And being able to evaluate your abilities. It's like, yeah, you still are a great actor, but are they going to let you act somewhere? Like, even in a play, I don't know that that's an option for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a minute. And then I think, for someone in Taraji's position, she is a person of power, speaking truth to power. And we've seen for other Black actresses, also in the Oprah camp at one point, that hasn't always gone well for them. So, this is sort of a lot of stake and a lot of risk, which is why some people stay quiet or stay silent. So, cycle, when you go through things like this that are traumatic, and this is, high level stuff, right? I guess, or whatever. You don't feel like this is, if you're accused of something at work that you didn't do, right? Or, or the court of public opinion about something is out, right? That can create a lot of suspicion, mistrust, distrust, perpetual self-questioning of yourself, people questioning you, you know what I mean?
Listen, we're going to talk about this in a minute. You can be
assuming your intentions,
accused of something in your family that you didn't do. Ooh. And then now you have that spotlight shining on you.
They put the jacket on.
They put that jacket on you in your own family. And that's injustice as well.
Yeah.
So,
and it's you can get into despair, like we said, with thoughts of unaliving yourself, which I think is the new term the kids are using. And taking actions that, may not be the best, excessive drinking or whatever. People can be withdrawn, isolated, sort of avoiding social interactions, trying to protect yourself really and protect your psyche. So you may withdraw from your community for a minute. And then some people just get extra vigilant, like hyper vigilant. They might be, we all know them people like, don't say nothing around the Alexa or the phones is always listening, which is actually true. But where they start to get a little paranoid about everything. Everything is a threat. The environment is a threat. This person is a threat. So they move with that kind of energy. And it starts to, again, breed mistrust. If it happens repeatedly, then you start to lose faith in yourself, the people around you, the systems around you. And we've seen that end in some really tragic ways. I think when I think about it, we talked about it earlier this year, but we were talking about Dear Mama on Hulu. Excuse me, if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's an incredible documentary. But so much of it, and having gone to the Park Museum this year as well, which whenever they bust that thing out of storage, you just gotta go. Wherever it is, just pay the money, do the travel, go to the Park Museum. But they talked a lot about Pac being a child of the movement and the struggle, right? In terms of being born out of the Black Panther movement, his mother being a Black Panther, and the level of paranoia and distrust that they had as a family from jump. Yeah, like Pac was born in prison. His mother was one of the Black Panther 21. She was doing her own defense. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the Panthers, like a lot of people's livelihoods were forever changed after that movement was systematically taken down by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. Just want to point that out. And so throughout his life, he felt the tug and the pull, push and pull, the tug and pull between being a child of the movement, right? And, just being a rapper, like sort of tricking it off or whatever that's going to be. And, the more he aged and matured, he had a lot of wounds, a lot of scars, a lot of having dealt with homelessness, things that had happened to him as a result of being a child of that legacy. And then after he got shot, right, everybody would talk about his paranoia level just went up. He would sit in the dark with guns and his paranoia level was crazy. So saying all that to say,
injustice affects your mental health.
Affects your mental health in terms of your paranoia level, your mistrust, your distrust, and kind of your sanity a little bit, like what you believe is real or not real.
Yep.
And there are governmental agencies and people and places and things that take advantage of that. But I'll leave it there.
This might be a good time, though, to talk about the difference between what I kind of just alluded to a few minutes ago. There's these global societal injustices, and then there's also personal injustices. So let's talk about the global ones first, and we all know what that is. It's the poverty, the discrimination, the human rights violations, the
racism,
things,
sexism, classism.
Yeah, all the things that we know that we see in our society that could be fixed if there was a desire to fix them.
Is there one?
Yeah. So these systemic problems can lead to a real sense of despair, anxiety, a loss of faith in humanity. You go like,
period.
Why can't these people figure this out? It's because, and then you decide they don't want to, so they don't care about. Michael Jackson said it. All I gotta say is that they don't really care about us.
And Earth is ghetto. I want to leave.
It could be better, and so this really can create a sense of powerlessness and hopelessness because you don't feel like there's anybody out there trying to make it better. So that's what we are talking about when we say global and societal injustice.
Which is usually not true, right? Which is why we appreciate our activists, right? The people who really like put their lives on the front line over their family, over their own bodily protection, who like can figure out how to strategize and organize the people to fight against systemic oppression. But that is a slow and steady battle, right? People were doing that before we got here, and people are probably could be doing that after we leave here because of the power attached. So, just want to take time to shout out those people. But we understand the feeling of, it feels like nobody cares about this or no one's doing anything about this or I'm the only one that cares.
Yep.
Which is usually
and then personal injustices can be just as traumatic. We're talking about intimate relationships with your family, friends, significant others, wives, whatever. These family relationships that get distorted by a sense of injustice can really have an emotional and psychological impact. It can feel like emotional and physical abuse. It could be emotional and physical abuse, and that's another thing I want to talk about, whether the injustice is real or perceived. Your body reacts to it the same way. We talk about that all the time. What your body perceives in your brain is going on is what it's going to react to.
Fight or flight.
So it may not be as bad as you think, or it could be worse than you think. It doesn't matter. Your body is still going to react, and it's going to affect your emotional and your mental health. People develop PTSD from this kind of stuff. They experience anxiety, relationships, depression, and they struggle with trust in future relationships.
I mean, which makes a lot of sense.
Now, listen, I'm going to give y'all a word of caution because it is Christmas still, and the holidays are coming. You're going to be at the people's house over
Christmas and New Year's. So
Christmas and New Year's.
It's a double whammy.
So don't you be the person that's causing the injustice. How about that? We're talking about you feeling injustice, but you don't want to be the person causing the injustice either. Think about this person that everybody in their family got a negative commentary about. Everybody got a story that they can tell you what.
We're asking you to practice empathy for that person.
Yes. Try and practice empathy for uncle, or whatever, or auntie, or granny,
your mother,
or your cousin, or whoever it is that everybody goes, when they say who are going to be over there, they really asking is that
they going to be over there? Because if they going to be over there, I'm not coming. There.
They asking about that person.
I have one of those too, but I don't have to deal with them for the holidays.
Yeah. So if you have that family member that everybody could have a story about, try to practice some empathy, like Jessica said.
Or don't fool with them. Don't go over there. If you know you're going to be negative, don't go over there.
Think about how that person feels walking into the room. They know y'all been talking about them. They know y'all talk about them all the time. So they going to come in, guns locked and loaded, blazing, ready for the first person to say the kind of wrong thing. And they're going to pop off. And there you go.
And now the whole holiday is ruined.
Try to be the person that has empathy for the person that everybody has.
And honestly, can I say
a story about?
Even if they don't deserve it, even if they are actually trash, like whatever they saying is true. They really are that messy. They really are that broke. Even if
they really are that emotionally dysfunctional. They really are.
Even if it's true, okay? They got like that somehow. You know why we love? You know why? I didn't even know how King the Conqueror was gonna come back up. Thank you, Lord. And I don't know nothing about it because I didn't watch that Marvel movie. But you know why we love villains? Because villains all got an origin story. The villain don't ever start as the villain. Something happened to them.
Right.
And when that happened to them, much like a lot of the things that we talking about, an injustice of some sort, perceived or real, and they said, you know what?
That ain't gonna happen to me never again.
Never again. That gonna happen to me never again. And thus they become the villain. Therefore, we could all be the villain in someone's story. Okay. So if it was you, which is my thing with all these situations, everybody like, you don't even know these people. You care so much, Jess. Why you care? Because if it was you, you would want me to have some empathy and compassion. You'd be like, nah, they would never. Like, nah, I mean, they got their issue, but they wouldn't do it. You would want somebody to ride for you. So when other people are riding for them, just sometimes ride for the person, even if they wrong. Ride for them, give them correction, try to give them some grace. Sometimes people need help, okay? But remember that.
Most of the time people need help.
All the time people need help.
Yeah.
But that person could really be the villain, but they have an injustice. Everybody got an injustice at the core. They ain't just come to the family function drunk because they want to mess everything up. They come to the family function drunk because something is bubbling up in them that's making them be like, I would rather drink the liquor than deal with the truth, okay? And then y'all gonna come and bring it up. Anyway, they always drinking. But they got a story from when they was 7 that they've been telling that y'all
like. Or trying to tell,
you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is context is key. Behavior makes sense, as my therapist tells me all the time. Things stem from places. So all we asking is, maybe just get a little more inquisitive this holiday. Maybe your auntie is 65 and she been telling the same story. Ain't nobody listen to her. You like, auntie, you get drunk every year. Let me come.
There's
come
something
to the corner
in
room.
that story that keeps is hurting her heart.
Let me sit down with you, and maybe she get to let it all out, and then next year she won't even be that person. You don't know. All I'm saying, context, behavior, get a little investigative. Okay, figure out the villain in your family. What's their origin story?
Put your Nancy
why are you like this? Put your Nancy Drew on. Shout out to that clone Tyrone. We finally watched it. It was a good time. And figure out why this person is acting that way. Get curious. Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I want you to think about it before you go into dinner. Just like, or go over to the house. Go like, if so and so is there today,
give them a little empathy.
Give them a little empathy. Try to show a little love. Don't pop off as soon as they pop off. Try to do it another way. If y'all been doing it that same way for the last 20 years,
working.
It's not working.
Come on.
So give it a shot.
Do you want the generational wellness or not?
Do you want to make a change?
Okay, so before we go, we're gonna give you a couple quick tips because that's what we do here on this show. Because we're all about the healing. Okay, if you ain't learned nothing else this year, you might have skipped some episodes. You might have been like, "This is my first episode." You might have been like, "Boop boop boop," pick and choose the episodes. Here's the point: you can't get to create generational wellness. You can't create no generational wellness of no kind for yourself, for others, nobody. If you don't get some healing,
you don't get well.
Okay.
If you don't get
some, that's the sound bite for the whole show. Get the healing, create generational wellness. Okay. So if that math isn't in place, you're not gonna think your way to it. You're not gonna wish your way to it.
You're not gonna pray your way to it unless you do some work.
You said it.
Faith without works is dead.
We like to use it for all the cute colloquialisms and things, but
if getting your mind right, you can have some faith, but you got to put in some work too to get your mind right. And it's been the way it's been for however many years. And if you decide you want to change it, it's not just going to change overnight.
And newsflash, God and Black Jesus also want you to get well. Okay? That's actually the point. I know y'all like to go to church.
Beloved, I wish that your soul would prosper and be in good health.
I mean, y'all like to jump around the churches, shout, sweat, fall out, foam at the mouth.
But your soul is all your emotions, all your things. You've been ruled
for 50 years.
You're on the inside.
And God like, man, I really want to use them. The Trinity be like, I really want to do it, but they not ready. You're not ready, okay?
Prosper
so anyway.
And be in good health. Your soul.
Let's get some
mind, body, soul.
Let's get some healing strategies. Okay, so when we go back and we were talking about global injustice, right? A lot of that, remember I said context is key, but you can't get context if you're not seeking to get educated. You got to get educated on the issues. You know how much, okay, listen, Israel and Palestine, most Black people, we just know the Bible. We be like, they've been doing that since the Bible, Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael. And that's as far as it goes for us, okay?
Cain and Abel, okay. Isaac and Ishmael, you know something been going on over there all this time.
I'm not knocking that. I'm going to add to it, though, that there are actual historical things. Events that have happened. The Nakba for Palestinian.
This ain't the first time they done killed a whole bunch of people.
Okay. We know the Jews is always gonna bring up the Holocaust. No disrespect. We know. Okay. We know about all that. Okay. 1947, that's when Israel really became like a state. There's a lot of politics around that. So all I'm saying is don't just be like, what the Bible say. Maybe do some Googling as well. You can have the spiritual side. I'm not going to knock it. Okay. That's where I started too. But then I also watched a couple movies, watched some docs, did some other kind of research to understand the actual geopolitical forces at work. Okay. Yep. Israel is our ally. We share weapons. We share monies. We in an entanglement
relationship.
We in an entanglement. So we can't just up and take Palestine's side without, giving up some of the perks. Okay, it's a little ball player side chickish. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, and as that young man said on the Instagrams, I think it was Instagram. If you want to figure out if you on the right side of a geopolitical struggle, where are the niggas at? That's the right side. If you got money to get on CNN and talk about what they done to you, if you got money to put up billboards to say bring the hostages home, I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm just saying you have access to some power and some resources that the other side don't really have. So who is abusing or bullying who? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't want no smoke with nobody. I would that all the people of that region prosper in Gaza and Israel, Palestinians and Israelis together. And they have lived together in Jerusalem before. Okay. Don't get it twisted. The Jews, Muslims, and Christians have lived in Israel together in peace. It's called Kingdom of Heaven. So I'm just saying, add a little historical context. Don't just, be taking people's word for it all the time. Get you some learning, get some books. It's so easy. You got YouTube. Anyway, it helps to get to root causes, okay? The impacts of injustice, the individual gains, getting clarity around what you're really looking at, not just being like, I heard this soundbite, so I think. I do want to shout out to Black people, though. I can't think of this lady's name, but I just watched her. Yo, when they be doing the hood breakdowns of geopolitical conflicts on Instagram, they be hilarious. Because they just be using like regular, just, they be like, yeah, now who said, it could be whatever. Like they just use vernacular that you understand. So shout out to those people. I love when they can take geopolitical conflicts and just like make them into really hilarious, but educational sound bites. Anyway, education helps you with your understanding, your clarity, your sense of context, your critical reasoning skills. I cannot stress this enough. That's a lot of America's problem. America don't know, everything is face value here. Whatever it is, the first time
is a soundbite.
Whatever the first time I heard it, that's what it is. Mind you, you got a 15-second clip or a 30-second clip. That's why we have shorts, right? But that don't mean you know the full context of the conversation. You know the full context of the situation. So education is crucial in getting full context, okay, so that you can have proper information. Therefore, then you could go in with your think pieces and talking points or whatever the hell else y'all gonna be doing. That puts you in a better position to be able to challenge and dismantle systemic injustice. No matter what side of the coin you fall on, you could just speak in an educated format. You can speak in an educated way about the thing that you're talking about instead of just parroting sound bites from other people who are also parroting sound bites from other people. And I'm not saying that to be like critical of anybody, any one thing. I'm just saying as a society as a whole, we like to really, really run with sound bites, and that's not always the truth. So I think, in the Jonathan Majors case, like we were all on YouTube. We was all on Twitter, like looking at people who were in the courtroom reporting live because we want the actual factual stuff straight from the source. When it started, it's like telephone. You remember telephone? The message was one thing, but when it got to you, it became something else. Okay. So just doing the things to do your research, even with Taraji, do your research. They got all kind of research about how Black women are underpaid in any arena. Okay. But specifically underpaid when it comes to roles and also in front of and behind the scenes. So that's empirical data that you can find. And then once you get educated, like you said, you can get to your activism. You can get to your advocacy. You can figure out what groups you want to be a part of. Like you can empower individuals and yourself and collective groups, and you can get a sense of purpose and have a way to fight injustice that, again, is educated. Okay, hopefully moving the needle forward on social change. And yeah, you're contributing to healing all around. Okay. I think a lot of times on this show we talk about individual personal healing.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Which is important to get to
because once you have it for yourself, then you want it for others. And then I feel like it's like creativity. That thing grows, right? And you want to take it to other people and you want to see other people get free, get healthy, get better. And especially in geopolitical struggles or crises or these things that we feel like are so out of our reach to fix. If everybody did their part, maybe some things would get better.
Yeah.
Power structures aside. When the power structures get involved.
Peace on earth, goodwill toward men.
This is the goal, but is the goal.
All right. For your personal injustices, listen, we're going to encourage you to use the same strategies and tools that we've been encouraging you to
all year.
Encouraging you to use all year. Because like Jessica said,
starts with you.
It starts with being in the process of healing so that you can create the generational wellness. So why we keep talking about it? Because they work. You got to do some self-care. You got to do some exercise, some meditation, some hobbies that bring you peace, that bring you a sense of control, center you back, provide a sense of well-being. Whatever that is that you do, I have my devotionals, I have my things, I read, I pray in the morning. Jess has hers. She has her affirmations. She has whatever it is you got to do to get your mind right.
Before you start the day.
Before you start the day, build that into your day because it's rough out here. I'm not going to lie. All right.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
Get you some support. Shout out to Taraji. Get you some support, a support network. Get friends, get family, get loved ones. Get that therapist, get a safe space for you to unload and unpack these things that are going on in your mind. Because you know what? It'll keep you going in circles. It'll be running around in your mind, having a field day. And then you sit down and you talk to somebody else about it. And you go, oh, it's other people going through this.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Not alone. Another Michael Jackson.
Listen, we were out Sunday and I've been talking to y'all a little bit about the struggles I'm having with transitioning into older age, what I perceive. But I was with some ladies that are younger than me on Sunday.
Trying to figure it out too.
And they're trying to figure it out. And they were having some of the same aches and ailments. And we all started talking about taking magnesium at night to sleep better and putting castor oil in our belly buttons and all the things because everybody
trying to figure it out,
trying to get well. So get you in a group. Get you a therapist, get you a person, get you some people that are going to help you.
And I want to say this to that point. Let's say you're having a fantastic end of 2023. You're like, this was my year. It was great. I decided I'm not going to be thirsty for 2024. I think that's part of the problem. The new year come, everybody be extra thirsty. And what usually happens when you super, super thirsty for something, it don't go that way. And then you be looking stupid. So don't be thirsty for 2024. Be excited. We made it. A lot of people didn't, whatever. But don't be thirsty for 2024. This is when people start, you ain't exercised all year. And now you're like, I'm finna kill it next year. No, you're not. Maybe just walk a couple of times. Maybe do some stretching.
2 times a week.
Let's just get a little more realistic, okay? I think I cracked the code. I'm like, I'm not finna be thirsty for this year, okay? Because remember, we was all super thirsty for 2020 and we was in a house for 2 years. So just be grateful to be here. Just do that. Single that to say
that 2020 vision. Oh God.
I right then I said I'm never doing this again. This your year. Name it and claim it. Sit down, and be happy when the clock strikes midnight and you're not a pumpkin. Here. Okay, you're still here. Take a Cinderella sermonette. Saying all that to say, those tools are important. Your individual tools are important because let's just say you having a good time. You like, man, I had to turn this off. Y'all was so depressing. We're happy for you. We're not trying to bring you down, okay? We won't break your soul. Beyonce gave the clarion call and we all heard it, okay? But something gonna come up at some point. Negative or positive, however you want to look at it. But life is gonna be lifing. So even if you're in a great space right now, you're home for the holidays, you ain't got no drama, no issue, no thing. Y'all singing, doing Christmas carols and making cards and cookies. If you really living that Christmas life, okay, no hate, no shade, no judgment. I'm very happy for you. But some gonna come up later. So you want to make sure that you're ready. Because the reality is that injustice of any kind and injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. The R. Kelly version of that on the Boondocks was an injustice anywhere is an injustice anywhere. Anyway, an injustice of any kind can have really detrimental effects on your mental health. And it impacts your emotional behavior, your mental behavior, dare I say your spiritual behavior. It just your relationships.
Physical.
It literally impacts your entire well-being. And once you sort of start to recognize, I think we're giving you tools. We use sort of Taraji and Jonathan's situations as case studies, but it ain't got to be all that. I think those are both judicial and career injustices, but we've given some personal examples of things. It can take a toll on you. And so we really hope that we are able to give you some coping strategies and some mechanisms to navigate the next time you have some sort of challenge of something that you feel is an injustice. You might not feel that the things we brought up today are injustices. We do, which is why we decided for our mental health and well-being to talk about them. You might not feel that way. You can say that in the comments, but don't get crazy, okay? And so it's all about fostering a sense of resilience, okay, in the face of adversity, which is really all Create Generational Wellness is. We're going to have a lot of short sound bites from this.
We're just trying
to help build resilience to overcome adversity when life be life in, based on the things that we've personally learned, the things that we've researched, the books we've read,
things that we are learning every day.
Okay, currently.
Listen,
every 2 weeks with our therapist.
No lie, we work on this all the time. It is not like
this. We not faking
this is our life. Has been our life.
We not clout chasing
for the last 10 years or whatever. Anybody. We have worked on our mental health consistently.
And emotional well-being.
And our emotional well-being and our ability to communicate. We have worked on it all for years.
And are we perfect? Hell to the nobody.
No.
But we continue to try.
and we continue to move the needle forward. And that's all you can do.
And hopefully, my nieces and nephews and the people who are around us and our friends and our family and people who, they could feel it like, oh, something's shifting over there. Something's changing. Not all the time, because some days, not so much. But on the days that we got it, yeah. And so the goal is to just, again, heal.
And on the days that it doesn't work, we try to figure it out. I will say that.
Sometimes. Or sometimes we'd be like, I ain't got it for you today. Don't talk to me today.
No. I don't mean we try to figure it out that day.
Oh, yeah. We're always going
to come back around to it and go, okay, now what was that all about?
But on the days when we be like, on the podcast episodes, we'd be like, if you feel some type of way, don't say nothing. Just leave. Done it. Okay. On the days where you like, I don't want to talk to nobody today. Shut it, Mary Warren. Was it Quiet Llama, Quiet Coyote? What is it, Bishop? All of those. Really do them. Like that. We really do that. Okay. She don't know. She don't care what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell our therapist. You know what I mean? And he talks me through it. All of that saying yes. And then there's some people in the house that don't go to therapy at all. So we talk about them to each other or to the therapist. to the therapist. Okay. Hopefully he'll get on the train so it's on him. Anyway, the goal is healing, man. Reclaiming our time for our mental and emotional.
Reclaiming our time, reclaiming our mind, reclaiming our soul.
Because we got things to do. It's a lot of injustices in the world, okay? Personal, judicial, racial, sexual, sexism. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. The babies, the poverty, all the things, okay? It's a lot of injustice in election year, okay, in our country. So the more that we can get healed, the more we can advocate for equitable things to happen. Hopefully a more compassionate world.
Please God.
A lot of things, if people just put themselves in other people's shoes, man, some of these things would be, we're all really the same. Okay. At the end of the day, we're all really the same.
Well,
I mean, some of y'all are lizard reptilian people and some of y'all operate in the Thanos universe. I'm convinced there's a lot of test tube people. You feel it. God. You talk to people, you look them in the eyes and you're like, nah, they clone Tyrone. Some of y'all are clones. And I see you. I acknowledge it. We're not really talking about y'all. You saw a clone? The reptilian people, the lizards. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. For those of us that are actual full blood, flesh and blood humans, and nobody took out our brains or did nothing crazy or noisy cricketed us or nothing like that. We still
stirred a teacup.
We still actually present, okay, for this life. We want a more compassionate world, and we want to create a legacy of generational wellness based on actual, real, tangible joy that the world ain't giving, the world can't take away.
Amen.
The world ain't giving, the world can't take away. And positive health, man, all the way around, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So that we could just, it could be Renaissance life. Every day.
We can live a better life.
We can have a better world. Our world.
A better world.
If you know.
Yeah.
Then you know. Anyway, we've been before you, not quite an hour, but pretty close. I think that's good. Some of y'all I watched a 2-hour podcast. I skipped through some of it, but some of y'all be having 2-hour podcasts. We are never before you that long, mainly because we don't have that kind of time. Perhaps once we start doing interviews,
it might go.
Maybe we can. Do y'all want to hear from certain people with the interviews? We're still figuring it out. Anyway, you ain't gonna know what we're doing. As I always say, if you are not tapped in, we want you to be tapped in. Listen, we've been doing this all 2020. Shout out to us. We've been doing this all 2023.
I'm proud of you.
Next Thursday, I'm proud of you. Because some days it was a struggle. And some days I was sick. And sometimes I just didn't want to. But I showed up. Because consistency is the only cheat code. Thank you, Dave Shans, and the morning meetup. Anywho, are you subscribed on the YouTube channel? Are you following us on IG and Fanbase and Facebook? We are at Create Generational Wellness. And yeah, I'm still catching up on some stuff, but we got worksheets, workbooks. Oh, we got things in the works. Okay, we got things in the pipe.
Hang with us, 2024,
and go back and watch the episodes from 2023, man. Don't just
Get
be like,
ready
well,
for
it's 2024, so listen.
Nope,
we're probably going to be talking about a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, it was some good stuff this year. I've been doing the edits, and I'm like, okay, we got some game
value,
game
information.
Anyway, Happy New Year. I mean, Merry Christmas. Sorry,
we'll see you next week.
The New Year.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
But hey, when the revelation hits you, if it's the new year for you today, right now, then it is, okay? But Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Have a happy holidays.
Love your people. Have some empathy.
Please try to implement some of the It'll help you. You'll come back in 2024 and be like, dang, man, that really worked. Like, y'all actually know what y'all talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great holiday. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't fight nobody. You know what I'm saying? Let's knuck if you buck. Anyway, have a wonderful Christmas. We hope you get stuff. We're not really big on consumerism around here, but we want it for you.
We haven't, we'll be honest, I bought 2 gifts, maybe 3.
I ain't bought no gifts. I am focused on putting my coin ain't what I would like it to be. I'm grateful for what it is, but I'm focusing on using that money to create memories for my gifts. I'll probably get a couple. But we've kind of had that philosophy for the last couple of years. But anyway, however you doing what you're doing, hella presents, no presents,
group outings,
group dinners,
memories, karaoke parties,
cuffing season,
whatever it is,
no cuffing season, whatever it is that you're doing. We wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and all of the above. Feliz Navidad, and y'all be safe out here. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Bye.